Board of Education members or the interim superintendent for individual action. So we have, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar items reference E through J? Do we have a first?
I move that we approve the consent calendar items E through J.
Do we have a second? Thank you, Ms. Walker.
I'll second, but I have a couple pulls.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. O'Kelly.
G12 and H3.
Okay, and that's G12 and H3. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pull item G12 and H3 to vote on separately. Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar items E through J with the exception of G12 and H3?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Angulo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item G12. Would you like to read the item, Ms. O'Kelly?
Well, approve a memorandum of understanding with the City of Rialto to provide elementary schools with a youth basketball program operated by the City of Rialto for 380 students. Now, I think this is a great idea. I think it was my idea, actually, to begin with. But I'm a little, I don't understand. We're paying $50 per student. What are we paying that for if we are not hiring coaches? I thought they would have qualified coaches, like I think the city sports programs have qualified coaches.
I'll let Angela address that. She's worked with the city.
All right. Good evening, board. I'm Angela Brantley. The $50 a student is the regular charge that the city charges for all of their students who come through and play their basketball.
Right.
In terms of the coaches, most of their coaches are parent volunteers that go through their fingerprinting process, and they have their own internal processes. So even for them to operate this program, it'll more than likely be parent volunteers or some of our own staff volunteers who will go through the city's process and become fingerprinted and approved to be the coaches. So it's the same process that
So the
exists with the
city's
city of
coaches
Rialto.
for their sports program are volunteers?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because my concern with that is I wonder if the kids, well, never mind. All right, then what does, I mean, so that's $19,000 just for a registration fee?
So what that encompasses
What are the
is-
kids getting out
What
of
that
this?
encompasses is the uniforms. Every student will get a uniform that says City of Rialto.
Okay.
It encompasses the actual practices 2 times a week. They'll practice for an hour. Their games. The city will operate tournaments, playoffs. It'll encompass their championship trophies. All students will get medals, and the winning teams will get trophies and so forth.
Okay,
So it operates the whole operating cost for the program.
okay, thank you.
All right.
So I'm good with that one.
Thank you, Ms. Brantley. Next, we have item H3.
Do you want to vote on that one?
Yeah, we should. Do we have a motion to approve item G12?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Preferential vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, on to H3.
Yes. I'm really excited that we are investigating solar energy, but my question is this. We're paying this money just to go through the motions of selecting a solar company. After we select a solar company, what funding are we going to use to pay for solar energy to be installed? Or, I mean, where is it going to go from there, and what funding is going to pay for this?
I'd like to, our director of facility, Iris Chu, come forward. Before she speak on I can cover the funding, the board. The funding is that there's several options. We're not quite there yet. Solar project is as you know, it is not no-brainer for me. Meaning it has a big return on the investment. Many school districts, many even homeowners, we put the solar in our own home
Right.
to save energy and cost. District our size, we have a huge cost. We run business today. We've been working on this project and gathering informations and ideas almost a year. Finally, we say we need to move on. So I will let Iris cover why we need an expertise to help guide us moving forward. Back to the funding issue, Mrs. O'Callaghan. There's several options. Build your own, meaning you finance the project, or there's a lease option to buy, or you can do lease, meaning you don't own it. So those will be forthcoming to you as a board before we going forward. We're not there yet. I will bring the recommendation to you. But tonight, simply you see the item just to bring somebody with the expertise and knowledge, help guide us in the right directions to bring the companies. There's many companies currently doing these projects. We don't have expertise. I don't claim I have expertise. I don't believe my staff has expertise. I'll turn over to Iris, maybe could further explain to you what she believes this company can do for us. Go ahead.
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Montes, distinguished board members, Mr. Islam. The reason I feel we need a third party, especially this is an electrical engineer to help us in the selection process, is first, this is a very purely electrical project. And there have been new technology even in the solar arena. So, as Mr. Islam mentioned that, we do not have expertise, even though we saw a lot of projects around here, but we have not done that before. And so I think it's prudent to have a professional to be in the selection panel to help us sort out the right one in terms of their data analysis. Of course, we internal staff, we can check on their background, their other project, the financial information, but I think in this particular project, it's wise to have a expertise to help us.
And I agree with that 1,000%. I think my concern was, if we spend this money now and we get a company, we select a company, but it's like 6 to 8 years before we can really afford to do anything, that company could be out of business by then. So by the timing is if we're not ready to very quickly move into it, we could have a problem there, because a lot of these companies go out of business real fast too. So
that's one of our background check, their history and their staying power in terms of financial strength.
Okay.
Yes.
If I may piggyback, Ms. O'Callaghan, our plan to move fast. As you know, this is you drive around many school districts already have done these projects. As I mentioned, many homeowners in our neighborhood, you can see that many homes has a solar project. But so our goal, after we did enough study on this project and collect data and informations, now we're ready to move forward. So our goal is not to delay any further. So because of that, we are trying to bring an expert who can assist us, guide us writing the scope of the project before we go to the selection process.
Well, that would only make sense. I just want to make sure we have a continuum here.
Yes, we are, and I'll bring a report back to you as we're moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So anything else regarding that item?
Oh, no, we can vote on that now.
Okay. So do we have a first to approve item H3?
So moved?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly and Mr. Martinez. Preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we're on to item K, discussion action items. And the first one is K1, to reopen a request for proposal RFP 14-15-005 and republish a notice inviting request for proposals RFP 14-15-005 for the purpose of securing a larger pool of pre-qualified architectural firms to be utilized for Measure Y Series C projects. Do we have a motion to approve?
Just a comment. Before. I remember we did this before with the contracts, and we reopened the request for proposals. And there were questions asked, and one of the reasons, there was like a project manager involved, and he did not send out, I guess the secretary or somebody did not send out the applications the way he was supposed to. People applied for them. They were late in receiving, and we wanted to be fair with everybody who wanted to apply. And the only solution at that time was to reopen the process. So I don't know if this is the case here, but I just wanted to bring that that experience that we had. That was probably a couple years ago, and it worked out. You know, the company may or may not have received, I don't remember the contract, but at least they were treated fairly.
I wanted to comment just on those. That would be 1 through 4. What are the reasons? And I don't want to be speculative about what the reasons are. On one of the other ones where we're reconsidering another bid, closing that bid and reopening, there actually is listed a reason, but there is no reason listed. So what are the reasoning behind increasing a bigger pool? Is there a limit to the pool? Is there a minimum to the pool? So if the staff can let us know why and what those.
Mohammed, can you explain?
Yeah, I will ask Iris too. Could you come
Yeah.
forward and explain, board? And board, I want to remind you, perhaps, I don't remember date, we had to present to you on items, and you have expressed some concern, so we pulled that items to come back to do a better process. First of all, I'd like to qualify what I mean by better process. At present time, you have been, we have a steering committee, the Measure Y steering committee. Member of the board, you represent that committee. I want to make sure everything crystal clear to you as a governing board, that there's no surprise to you. So process is clean. The selection process is not limited to my staff. And so steering committee is another set of eyes will be engaged to the process before it comes to you as a governing board for approval. We learned from experience. We heard a lot of concerns coming from the community and members, and issues and concerns related to our Measure Y projects. I want to make sure those issues doesn't come back again as a concern to you. So I want to be clear, make sure we every step we're going to make to the process, it is crystal clear before it comes to you for approval.
And are we updating and refining our process as we go through this?
You're correct. We are not limiting people. We have done business. We're going to open anyone interested to do business with Rialto USD. But we are always looking for the best. Rialto is is not taking anybody left over. We're going to shoot for the best people, do what's best for the Rialto USD.
But those who have already been accepted into the pools don't have to reapply, do they?
You're correct.
Okay.
They don't have to go through this again, because we make sure we communicate this to the people has been submit their package. We're not going to ask them to submit again. That doesn't, we definitely going to do that.
I have the same concerns as the public, that this isn't reopening the pool just to add a friend of a friend. And I want to hear that is not one of the reasons, part of the scope for reopening.
I will speak with honesty. The reason is that we add another process. It's called a steering committee. You didn't have one. Board, I felt that you need it. And knowing an experience I have listening to the concerns coming from the community, I strongly felt there's a need to be another set of stakeholders,
Mhm.
which is I invite a member of the board, and Mrs. O'Callaghan is there. Mr. Ayala is going to represent. I cannot take more than two, but under the
Right.
Brown Act. So you are part of the process. So there's you and committee members will be is a part of the steering committee. So when it returned to you as the approval selections of the firm, it will be no concerns should be bring after the fact. So that's the reason we felt legally we cannot just take a prior process. We have to reopen the bid, to open again. We have discussed our legal counsel, and they advised that this is the correct process. So you will be, the recommendation will come to you once we go through that process and for your approval.
And which legal counsel was that?
We use our county council.
Thank
They
you.
have expertise because they serve 33 school districts in our county.
Perfect, thank you.
So my question still would be, if the wording is securing a larger pool of pre-qualified engineering consulting firms, what is the number that makes it the larger pool or the lesser pool? Meaning if there are 3 qualified, what is the number if you're looking to be, understand the transparency issue that we're looking at, but is there a number saying that we want to have at least 6 or 10 pre-qualified firms on these projects for the Measure Y dollars?
In my opinion, I don't think there's really a number that we need to go as a target. It's actually the quality of firms we select, whether we can cover different variety of project, small project, medium-sized project, big project, new construction, renovation, all kinds of project. And some firm can claim that they are expertise in all these projects, but we want to expose this opportunity to more vendors, more consultants, and also including more companies in this community.
Again, in my mind, we're looking who is can best serve our Rialto Unified School District. Again, the bond money is a very limited resource. We want to maximize resource building our project. We don't want to give money to the consultants, and here we can do our projects. So we are very careful to our selection process. Not only cost elements, we're looking for their references, their reputations, and their expertise, and make sure they're serving our Rialto USD project, not they're serving their own interests.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chu. Thank you, Mr. Islam, for your clarification. I want to thank Mr. Islam for really taking the lead and changing and improvising and improving the previous process of selecting construction management, architects, inspectors, and all the other different types of consultants regarding these types of projects. In the past, the way things have been done in the past need to be changed. It was reported in the FICMAT, it was reported in different various audits. The way this district was doing business before is no longer the way we want to, as a board, move forward and continuing to do business the way it was done in the past. By adding a better process and by including the steering committee, unfortunately, the steering committee was not able to convene this week to discuss a lot of and clarify a lot of these things. But any member of the community is more than welcome to contact Mr. Islam directly, contact me as board president or anybody else here at the district for clarification. Ms. Walker is correct. Transparency is a big part of this, and we want to make sure we're doing what's in the best interest of the taxpayers' dollars, and we're doing what's in the best interest of how these Measure Y projects and monies are going to be utilized. In the past, all the windows and all the doors were completely open here at the district for people to come in and do business. We need to close those windows and doors and lock them, and only let the people in, that staff and the staff that are qualified can make recommendations on who to choose, and then the steering committee can review it before it comes to the board. as opposed to anything coming to the board and saying, here, sign that, approve that, rubber stamp that. No, we want to make sure the process is, we want to protect our staff members and not have to go through any allegations, people hurling allegations or making accusations of any of the board or anybody at this district. So what we want to do is take the responsibility that before was only limited to a small group of people, and now include the steering committee to also take a look at that. And which surprisingly, people raising questions are part of the steering committee. But like I said, the steering committee, for whatever reason, wasn't able to convene this week. Maybe you guys will convene at the following meeting. But anyone is more than welcome to contact me, contact Mr. Islam. If you have any concerns regarding any of these processes or procedures that we want to improve and change and move forward. Unfortunately, I told Mr. Islam, and it was too late. It was too late if we wanted to anyways. I told Mr. Islam, let's go through with this. Let's just put it on there. Unfortunately, the steering committee didn't get an opportunity to hear all the different changes and the new leadership that Mr. Islam wants to implement. But we got to move forward. These projects can't wait. These schools can't wait. Eisenhower can't wait. Carter can't wait. None of our schools can wait. The kids don't deserve to wait. These projects need to move forward. So we need to start this process, in a timely manner. But I don't appreciate allegations being hurled at me or anybody else here at this of this board or at this district. And we don't need to put our staff on the stand and start asking them exactly how the whole process goes. The board has an obligation to educate ourselves on how we do business here, and there's nothing wrong with reopening this up, letting people apply. By law, we have to let people apply, and including new processes and adding measures to make sure that more than just a few sets of eyes are looking at these projects. So with that said,
I have one other question. If these are approved tonight, when will be the date that they will have to submit proposals, so we have some idea of when we're going to get started?
As soon as it's being approved by the board tonight, that I have a schedule that we will have all the advertisement pieces ready for the publication next week. Perhaps next Wednesday we will put out on the newspaper, and we will put it in our district website under purchasing department and under facility department. And
What's the due date?
we will have to put on the newspaper twice consecutively for 2 weeks, and then we have another week or two for the question, and then 2 weeks later we will receive the submittal and review the proposals.
So this is like 5 or 6 weeks before we even have applications or proposals?
No, I think we can have the application in within 4 weeks.
Okay.
And as a as a part of the improving our process, I'd like to share the board. In the past, Rialto USD only put the ad in the local newspaper, one newspaper, and I felt this is disserving the business community who may be interested to do business with us. So I directed my staff to no, you need to put other local newspapers and trade journal. This is a specialized, field. So that also changed in the improving our business process, looking for the best for our projects. So that's also different. What you see changes we're making and going forward.
Mr. Islam, thank you for improving the process.
You're welcome.
President, may I make a motion here?
yes.
I would like to make a motion to save a little time to loop K1, K2, K3, K4, so we can vote.
Unfortunately, I believe we have to vote individual items for discussion, action items, and I believe Mr. Islam even checked with legal counsel on that.
Yes, you're correct, because you have to open and discuss and approve every single item.
We used to do it before all the time, but we have to abide by the rules.
Okay.
So with that, do we have a motion to approve item K1?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item K2, reopen request for proposals and republish a notice inviting requests for proposals for the purpose of securing a larger pool of pre-qualified construction management and/or leaseback construction service firms to be utilized for future Measure-Wise and Series C projects. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala, and thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item K3, to reopen request for proposals, RFP, and republish a notice inviting requests for proposals for the purpose of securing a larger pool of division of state architect DSA inspection services to be utilized for future Measure-Wise Series C projects. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item K4, reopen the request for proposals and republish a notice inviting requests for proposals for the purpose of securing a larger pool of various pre-qualified engineering consultant service firms to be utilized for future Measure Y Series C projects. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. K5, reject the bid for bid number 14-15-010 for Carter High School track and field improvement and give authorization to rebid the project. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve, but I have discussion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. O'Kelly?
Well, when I saw this item, I had to stop and say, why does Carter's brand-new track and field need improvement? Whereas Eisenhower still has their old track and field, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, so I asked Mr. Islam, and basically I got an explanation that said that when the stadium was first built back in 2006, the handicapped ramp was built incorrectly. It's supposed to have like a 2% grade, and it did not do that. And so when they came in and did the track and field improvements recently, those people caught that and reported it. And basically what it amounts to is there can't be any other projects at Carter High School until that's fixed. Did I read that correctly?
You're correct.
Okay, so that makes sense. But my point is this. The original people that built that handicapped ramp knew very well what this legal specifications were. And I don't care that a few years have passed. If they built it illegally, to me, they should be held liable for it, and they should have to pay those costs.
Could you explain, Mr. Islam, why the bid is being rejected and why the projects cannot be started or finished there until that's corrected?
Yeah, I will ask Mrs. Chu again come forward. Again, this is something I call discovery. Again, going back 2006, state inspector did not bring the findings or saying there's a compliance issue. Now the inspectors are bringing the issue that this is in the compliance. If you don't fix it, you cannot, going forward, any future project to Carter High School could not be, they will not, state will not approve those projects. So, Ms. Chu, maybe you can extend it on the matter, please.
Good evening again. The reason why we want to recommend the board to reject the bid is because the bid, we get only one bidder this time, and the bid was $100,000 over the architect estimate. We are very much aware that architect estimate may not be off the mark, but I think this is almost 50% above architect estimate. So we feel we have better chance if we can bid again and actively ask a lot of contractor we worked with before to bid the project.
This brings up my main point about this item and several other items in the past. This board needs more information in the agenda write-ups. You could have explained about the handicapped access, because why should a brand-new track and field need improvement? That right there brings questions, and then explain why you want us to rebid it. To just ask us to approve something for improvements to track and field is not going to cut it. Okay.
Question.
Agree.
Question. Was the original company who was in charge of construction, were they ever given a notice that there was a default in the ramp? Because that would have started the statute of limitations. I believe it's like 7 years. So if they were notified in 2006, it would have ran out. But if they weren't notified, then like Ms. O'Kelly says, we might have
Right, they should have to
recourse here.
fix their mistakes. So I think before we do anything, we need to investigate that and see whatever was done about it at the time, whatever paperwork there is, and if the people who saw it, what they did about it.
By the fact that the project was certified by DSA a few years ago, I would think that the citation or notice didn't happen.
So state, let me be clear what Ms. Chu is referring to. State sign off this project as a satisfied with all the requirement, and they did not citing these findings by their own under their own rules and guidelines. Why is happening now? We don't. I can give you that answer. Again, these are different inspectors. The fact of the matter, I direct my staff as your concern is the same as my concern. Who is the party involved 2006? I wasn't here in 2006. That doesn't matter. I want to go back to the source.
Right.
What can I do and hold them accountable? I told Mrs. Chu, look at the legal requirement, look at the timeline, contractors and the construction management company. I'm working on it, board. I will bring the report to you. Your concern is the same as my
Well,
concern.
should we pull this item then until we have that information?
No,
No, you don't.
This is just to reject the bid.
Oh,
The
okay.
bi- you heard
That was
the
previously approved.
we get only one bid and it exceeded the estimate.
Okay,
So
got
we want to go back again. So these are two separate issues.
Yeah, right.
But we like to approve this tonight. So we did go back again.
All right.
Get the bid with the right amount within the budget.
Okay.
Thank you. It's very important that we make sure we get highly qualified and,
Well,
effective.
We'll notify the people we work with before who did a good job for the district before, invite them to bid.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
I'll also invite them to talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
about the issue.
because when you think about this, we're paying a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
and if you've made a mistake, you need to own up to it, regardless whether or not the statute of limitations existed or not. And if they don't want to help us with something like this, and now we got 10 people on a list that are willing to do the work, maybe the people who are willing to help us when we have problems are the ones that get a higher priority. I don't know, but it just seems like that was something that should have been caught.
Right.
And
It's not just, it's an illegal matter.
and now we're in
They're
a
not
bind.
meeting the,
Well, it's not illegal.
well, it's against the American
court-
Disabilities Act.
And not only
It's-
that,
it's
we can't move
non-compliant,
forward on
non-compliant.
projects.
Okay, all right.
We can't move
I like
forward on
illegal
projects.
better.
So that's disturbing. So, if they're not willing to rectify the situation just because they got an approval, I still don't think it's right.
I would go so far as invite the original firm to cure and correct
Yes.
at their cost. Not that they would, but I don't want to make the name public. That way we could not get sued.
Yeah.
But I would say let's put them at the end of the list and not use them if we can help it.
There you go.
Because if they're not going to correct this,
Yep.
they're not stand up
Yeah.
in the eyes of the public, I'd say. And I'm speaking as a taxpayer now.
We're in a bind here.
Yeah, board. What I'm leading this. I'm hearing your concerns, the same as mine. I'm going to explore all legal options we have under the law. and go engage the firms, construction company, and other players going back 2006. And also we have to look at the what we failed to do or did at that time. I don't know that part, as administrations. Is that part of the scope of the project? Is that was built in the contract that they have to do this? I don't know. So there's a lot of things I cannot report to you tonight, but I will glad to bring you back to you at a later date once I get all the facts and clear my mind, and I have to report back to you.
Okay. I think we're ready to vote on that one.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I had, okay, number 6.
Item K6, approve an agreement with PCH Architects LLP as the architectural firm for the new boardroom project at the former District Registration Center, DRC, located at 260 South Willow Avenue. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved, but I have
Do-
discussion.
Do we have a
Second.
second? Okay, take it away, Ms. O'Kelly.
Okay, this is sort of like my solar energy question, because, okay, this is exciting. We're going to get a new big boardroom and whatever. And this agreement is just for the architect's fees, correct? Well, after the architects are finished, what funding, what money is going to be used to actually build this new boardroom and complete it? And how much is the estimated cost?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's a conversion, right? It's not building of it.
Not building, but they have to build the inside of it.
Yeah, it's not a building it from the ground up. It's
You're correct. It's
Convert-
just you are.
remodel.
Converting the former registration center.
You're
part of
correct.
it, right?
You're correct. The building is there, so we are not starting building ground up. It's just remodeling, converting into a boardroom, as you see, as how we conducting business as a Rialto USD. Our community has been grown over the years, and I brought that issue to you a long time ago, and you support this project because we have existing facilities sitting there unused, and it's the best location for our conducting your board meeting, and now we are going forward, and you're correct, President Montez. We're not. It is some remodeling, converting into a boardroom. I'll turn over to Mrs. Chu. Could you please?
What's the
explain?
estimated cost of the remodeling, and what funding will it be paid out of?
This is something that district has to pay out of general fund.
General fund. Yeah.
The architect estimated about $500,000, $600,000, including the furniture. This is construction cost, and this type of project, because it's interior it's like tenant improvement. We have interior big space. We have to remove some partitions here and there, and to make sure that we have enough toilet room facilities and good parking spaces to accommodate 200, 250 people. The space can accommodate with free seating, not fixed seating. The budget has to come from general fund, but we are starting with the design, with at least to get some idea. We're looking at state-of-the-art electronic equipment in this future boardroom, monitors, cameras, electronic voting devices, display, and so on and so forth. It's going to be very nice.
Well, I'm sure it is. I know previously we had discussed turning the west wing into a boardroom. What has happened to that idea?
I believe it. As you know, we having a challenge finding a space conducting our day-to-day business. We, because of the business process, we're trying to improve, and with ALCAP itself, with the community engagement, we don't have to meeting places. So West Wing, it's not a space-wise, it's not a big enough to converting the boardroom, and bring our community coming as we see every board meeting. That we have a large community members come to our board meeting, and it's a community meeting, your meeting, the board. So I don't believe that West Wing is the best place for converting as a boardroom, because that space also used by the community members for different meeting. I see last night the Parent Teacher Association is conducting business there, so we provide those space for them also to engage the businesses. So it's not a big enough for moving from this location to West Wing. If West Wing is then next to this location, I would say then we can expand the space. So it's not a big enough making your as a boardroom. It's a small space.
Well, does the general budget, can they afford $500,000?
We have to, again, if this is the priority of the districts, that conducting our business is affecting our community and you as a governing board, the decision is we have to make, and with your approval, we'll move forward. We have not, again, we have to allocate the money for that purposes. It's just the need of the districts, how we're doing business versus how we should be doing business, and how we serve better to our community and our
Well, just another comment is if we decide to do this, that you need to really improve the lighting down there at the district. That's a very dark place down there at night.
You're correct, and this is all going to come with the project, total project, parking, lighting, providing more space for more community members. Could be inside the room, not another room, listening in a board meeting. I assume many parents don't come because we don't have a space available. They're probably sitting home and watching your board meeting. I mean, it's possible. I mean, that's I heard many parents made a statement. But the fact of the matter is, it's your decision. If you, again, any things we're going to improve, they're going to be costs associated to that improvement.
Right.
And as we look at our existing facility and how we conducting business, we're looking for improvement in every way possible. And of course, there will be costs associated to those improvements.
I believe the board approved last year, correct? The board approved to look into doing the switch, moving the district boardroom from here to the facility over there.
You're correct. This discussions is going way back when we started.
I just have to agree with Mr. Islam that logistically it would be more beneficial to our district to have a nice sized boardroom. It's unfortunate that we have to have people sitting in a separate room watching on a TV screen the board meetings when we're right here. Unfortunately we can't accommodate the community to sit here and be present, and it's not the same. I mean, if you're going to watch it in the next room, it's almost like watching it at home. But the other benefactors is that the fire department and the police department are right across the street. Our own safety security officers have their headquarters on the same site. We have a registration center that was fully operable some years back, but it's no longer being used, so there's space there that's not being utilized. And then City Hall's right across the street also. It makes sense to have the board meetings in the center, in the heart of the city, close to the other local government agency, close to not only our safety and security, but also to the other law enforcement agencies. But I do want to say that if cost is something we need to consider in regards to maybe putting this on hold or waiting for a better time where we can use those funds a little more freely, then that's something the board should consider as well. Are we ready for something like this, or would it be better to wait until better times?
if it's open for discussion, I would just like to ask the public, if you do not want us to spend this kind of money on a facility to make it easier for you to attend meetings, please let us know. Simple as that, because we serve the public. And if they wish to sit in the same room, which we've had many requests, as you know, then we should entertain this. We have space, it's available. It's only going to cost more in the future.
Yes.
So unless the public says hold everything, I'd say let's go.
I just want to make it clear that Measure Y funds cannot be touched for this.
Correct.
You're correct. We're not.
That money is for the school sites.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct, Mrs. Kelly. We're not banking on Measure Y money.
Okay.
You heard even the items speak where it says general fund. So
Well-
we have to allocate money for this project if board desire to go move on with this project.
Comment?
And then as our money guy, so to speak, our budget can sustain this kind of expenditure.
We will allocate the money, yes. Answer is yes. The reason I'm saying yes, the timing-wise, we can keep on deferring this project. We started this discussion almost a year ago. We put on a hold due to the budget not knowing what's going to happen to local control funding formula, how much money we're going to receive. I think timing, if you ask me, I would say this is now is the right time to do this.
And
Discussion?
Can we call for, you're still,
yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get there. No, go ahead.
Okay. We, to my understanding, we're still on deficit spending, and, you know, we have staff and needs of our people to make sure they're a priority, because they help our kids. This is coming out of the general fund, which makes it more difficult for us to take care of staff. And if we're still in deficit spending, it may not be the wisest thing to pursue. That's a comment, so I'll leave it at that.
Excellent point.
I just would like to point out that I have to agree. You know, maybe we should really analyze the expenditure and how it'll affect other, you know, other work and other things that the money could be used for. But I do want to say that the expansion of a new boardroom is for the community. You know, it's not for the superintendent, it's not for the board members, it's for the community. There's no reason why this boardroom should not be 3, 4, 5 times as big like our other school districts, our neighboring school districts, where they can actually hold, you know, the community there and have the amenities that are required, you know, for people with disabilities and whatnot, access. I mean, you know, we've all seen it here. It's hard probably from people watching at home to see, but, you know, we see how cramped it can be in here, and sometimes it's even, I know the safety and security is always, you know, keeping an eye, because even they're, you know, when it gets really crowded, they're just looking around, you know, making sure everybody's safe, and it's a little bit difficult to do, you know, in such a restrained room, but that's all I have to say. So does anybody else before we call for the question?
I think the parents would love to sit in the same room and see their kids get awards.
Not be out in the hallway and all that.
Well, keep in mind, we did it before by going to the schools. And we have those opportunities still, and we don't have to spend a dime.
It's true.
I would just like to say that in reference to this, because this was just the agreement around the architectural firm, not the projected out cost from our staff, that we actually do the projected out cost. Great point to bring up. If our constituents, our families, our community are not in favor of moving forward with that, then we need to put it on. It needs to be an agendized item with the correct budget and the timeline of when it looks that the project will occur, which then we'll know what fiscal year those funds will come out of. So that we'll know in real time what that means for the money in reference to our district. Otherwise, it's exercise of futility right now. So what we can do, again, approving an agreement right now is fine. It still doesn't talk about the longevity of the project and what happens with the outcomes of that.
That's what the
So my
steering-
recommendation is that we remove this, we don't vote on this or remove it, today, only because we need some more information about the entirety of the project to go from there.
Well said. You have a steering committee that can be utilized for this project too.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, and as we're working on the moving with our budget plan for next year. Of course, we carefully are going to monitor deficit spending and fiscal solvency is our fiduciary responsibility to make sure we sustain that, not only going forward next year for required 3 years, so as the state required it is 3 years. So anything we plan, we can't jeopardize our fiscal solvency and deficit spending. So that has to be carefully planned to building next year or going forward. So I like your idea. Maybe we can bring this into our steering committee dialogue, because we have the parents there, we have the stakeholders there. If they are in favor, then I'd like to bring it back. So at this time, I would say let's pull it.
Right.
All right, do we have a motion to pull item K6?
So moved?
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Item K7, approve the use of California Multiple Award Schedule, CMAS bid number 414-58-0074A and 308-702515A for the 2014-2015 fiscal year. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item K8, approve an agreement with Staff Therapy Rehab to provide 3 speech-language pathologist assistants effective February 26, 2015 through June 30th, 2015. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you, Mr.
Second.
Rod. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item K9, approve the Board of Education meeting schedule for the 2015-2016 school year. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. O'Callaghan. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item K10, approve the 2015-2016 school student calendar. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item K11, the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education votes for the following as delegates to the California School Board Association Delegate Assembly. And I believe the 6 candidates named here, from Needles Unified School District, Lucerne Valley Unified School District, Silver Valley Unified School District, Hesperia Unified School District, Central Elementary School District, and Chaffey Joint Union High School District. Does anybody oppose the candidates chosen?
Just discussion.
Okay.
There's only 6 candidates for 6 positions, so it's a no-brainer move forward.
Right.
But I do wish to point out that the one from Chaffey, Charles J. U. Haley, I had spoke with him at the Academic Decathlon Awards dinner, and he just got voted in for about his 10th or 11th session. So he's been a board member for over 40 years.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Nerves of steel.
Yep.
Do we have a first? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the
move.
motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, on to